everyone, my name's Peggle. Welcome to my first non-streaming video.
What do you know?
So, I've been wanting to do a video on the channel for a while, but I wanted to do it with someone, and I thought no one is better than my worst nightmare himself. The Catholic gaming nerd, or as he likes to be called, Paul.
Hello, guys. I'm sure you've seen me around. I've only just been around since 2013. That's all. Just quietly sneaking onto the YouTube scene.
So, for those who have no idea who this awesome person is, he does game reviews of mostly Nintendo games. So much so he's counted how many he's done, which is just over 300. Yeah, there's
302 to be exact.
Yes. He also likes to do live streams when I'm sleeping.
I purposely do it while she's sleeping too, because I don't want to hear her, bothering me the whole time.
So, would you like to say anything else about your channel before we start?
Yes, I would like to say that while it is true that I review a lot of video games, that's not the only thing I do. I consider myself a variety channel first and foremost, so I plan on doing a lot of vlogging this year. I'm going on a retreat next week, so that'll be something to look forward to. I sometimes do random things with my friends, like sword fights and imitating other people and holding up one of my amiibos and pretending it's my coworker. So I like to make people laugh. I like people to know that underneath all of my sarcasm and joking, that well, who am I kidding? I'm the worst person ever, and I tortured her to get this interview, so you can punish me later in the comments.
So, myself and Paul planned this about a month ago. Now, we're going to do our top 10 favorite Switch games on the Nintendo Switch.
Favorite Switch games on the Nintendo Switch. That was a great line there.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to quickly say, this is our opinion, so you might like, I don't know, Nickelodeon kart races the most. We might not. Spoiler alert, that's not on either of our lists.
Yeah, because Mario Kart is clearly the inferior option.
So, please don't get too mad at our lists. With that, we could get into it.
Sounds good to me.
Yes. So we'll go with my list first. So my number 10 first.
Wait, not your entire list, sorry.
So coming in at number 10 is Luigi's Mansion 3. So I've never actually played the first two games. So when I played the third installment, I was completely blind by the story of the series. Luigi's Mansion 3 is about Luigi, Mario, Peach, Egad, and some toads suspiciously getting invited to this massive hotel. However, once they settle into their rooms, it's revealed that this was a setup by the owner of the hotel, Helen Gravely, and is shown that everyone there is a ghost, and she did this for King Boo, the main villain in the series. Ooh. He puts everyone except for Luigi in a painting throughout the hotel, and it's Luigi's job with his signature weapon, a vacuum, and his returning ally Goichi to go throughout this hotel, capture all the ghosts, collect elevator buttons, and save his friends.
So you actually played the 3DS remake. That's cool.
I didn't, but okay.
How'd you know about Luigi then?
I googled it. I was like, I wonder if he's been in here before.
Leave it to you to be so young that you have to look up everything on a computer instead of discovering it.
Yes. Now, this game has beautiful graphics. In my opinion, this game has one of the best graphics in a Mario/Luigi game. However, I put this in number 10 because, for starters, this game is a bit too long. And as much as I love long games, a Mario game doesn't really suit it if it's not its 2D scroller style. This game was 3D and you're walking around a place, so it's almost open world. Also, I feel like the game got dragged out way too much to make it so long. There are a lot of levels, and some included Ghost Boss, but not saving his friends. I feel like they just dragged it out too much. I mean, like, 1 or 2
Yeah,
levels.
that's Luigi's Mansion for you.
Like, I mean, 1 or 2
Everything has to be padded.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 levels without saving a friend is fine, but having like 3 or more is really boring. Also, I feel like some of the bosses' levels didn't really explain properly how to beat the level. Like, I kid you not, I'm still in the boiler room and can't figure out how to beat the boss. I had to watch a YouTuber beat the rest of the game. I love the game, but they just tweaked. If they just tweaked some things, I feel like it could have done better than it did, dying so fast.
Well, at least it seems like the team has taken the feedback of the first Luigi's Mansion and really expanded on it, because they didn't like the mission structure of Dark Moon, and they didn't like how short the original Luigi's Mansion was. So they decided, let's make it longer and in one giant place, like it was in the original.
So, Paul, do you have any like comments about this game? Like what you like about it, what you don't like about it, anything like that?
Well, I tried renting this game, and I enjoyed it for a while, but then there were other games coming out at the time, so I just said, this is taking up too much space on my rental, so I'm just gonna get better games. But I would say that I would agree with you on just about everything. The graphics are amazing. I really love the physics engine. Like, Luigi has this suction cup that he can use to grapple onto things, and it is so satisfying to see how everything flies around and crashes in a realistic manner. I don't like all the backtracking that you have to do. I've heard that's a problem with Dark Moon as well, and the original Luigi's Mansion certainly had that, so I guess some things never change. And I also thought it was weird that they released DLC, but only for the multiplayer mode. Like, what the heck?
Yes, that's true. They did do there is a multiplayer mode, and I haven't played it at all, but apparently it's okay.
It was okay when I played it with bots, but definitely the kind of thing that wouldn't beat out Mario Party.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Paul, I guess we can get into your number 10 on the list. So, fire away.
Okay, so the number 10 Switch game for me is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This was the kind of game that I originally dreaded playing, because I thought, oh no, it's the Rabbids, and Mario's carrying a gun, and the Rabbids are so annoying. They've worn out their welcome ever since the Wii, what the heck? Then someone came up to me and said, Grant Kirkhope composed the soundtrack, and I said, wait, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Grant Kirkhope? The one who composed Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64? Oh heck yeah, I'm jumping into this. And not only that, but it reminds me a lot of Fire Emblem. Obviously there's a lot of differences in the battle mechanics, but I did like how it was really deep, turn-based strategy that had a lot of depth into it. Like, the customization tree alone allows you to customize the playstyle to just about however you want, and the music is phenomenal. Like, if you don't get it for any other reason, look up the soundtrack and just allow yourself to be bamboozled in amazement, and then go play Banjo-Kazooie, because Grant Kirkhope needs more love.
Yes.
And there's even spirit battles of 3 of the Rabbids in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which were hilariously accurate, even if the music was not accurate to the game at all. Like, they just did the generic Arcade Bunnies theme, and it's like, oh my gosh, that tune stinks! You gotta have the full orchestral majesty that Kirkhope provided, so what the heck, Nintendo? Have you ever at least seen gameplay of this? You have, like, comments on, say, the graphics or anything like that?
I actually haven't seen, like, anything to do with this game, to be perfectly honest, but I'm just gonna say.
Not a turn-based person.
No, I'm really not. No, but apart from, like, I've seen very small snippets of videos of it from, like, friends that have, like, recorded some gameplay of it, like 20-second gameplay, and it looks okay. This just not my type of style of game.
Yeah, it's definitely for people that are like that like the Fire Emblem games and want something more involved. Although, I think one thing that should be commemorated, whether you like the game or not, is that you would never know that Nintendo didn't make it. It was actually Ubisoft that made the game, and they actually developed the Mario models by themselves without Nintendo's involvement, and Nintendo was so impressed that they said, hey, we'll help give you like assets if you need them. So you can say like, wow, an official Mario game that looks better than an official Mario game.
I can't wait for people's gameplays though of the next one that's coming. Can't remember what it's called, but
Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and I plan on showing gameplay of that, so you can always look on my channel if you don't want to go to anyone else's.
yes, I think I will have a look. Big Ree's trying to, which is my friend. He's been trying to convince me to get the game, and I'm just like, no, I don't really want to.
As a diehard Fire Emblem fan, I would warn you all to play that series first, because Mario plus Rabbids is structured more like the series XCOM, which involves moving your characters, then attacking from a distance, whereas with Fire Emblem, you move next to your opponent and attack. And it's a lot more streamlined, so that it's like a newbie's RPG, whereas this is like, it expects you to be a master. I'm not trying to scare people away or anything. I'm actually trying to gravitate them more towards Fire Emblem. So, insert Fire Emblem in a really good-looking costume and have it start doing a little dance. Not a suggestive dance, but like, you know, get the Fire Emblem Three Houses cover to say, "Come on, guys, buy me already, will ya?"
Oh goodness. So coming in at my number 9, we have Super Mario 3D All Stars. So,
Otherwise known as the game Nintendo tried to kill.
so this collection of games has N64 Super Mario, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Now, Paul can go into more depth about the games, but I thought I'd quickly give my opinion on each game. N64 Mario was the very first Mario game I ever played, and because I'm a nostalgia baby, I love it, and don't see too many
Practically only a baby at this point.
I don't see too many flaws in it. The music's amazing. I love the levels. The only problem I have with it is that after you beat Bowser, the first time it just doesn't really help with what to do next. In fact, the game doesn't really help you with what to do next after Toad tells you to go into the first painting. Like, I kid you not, as a kid, after I beat Bowser for the first time, I thought I beat the game, and it wasn't until I was 15 that I found out that there was more to the story. So, I just wish they helped.
You know what a key did?
No! So, I just wish they helped a bit more on that. Now, Super Mario Sunshine. I hate it. I hate it, honestly I do. The only thing I like about it is a certain song in the game, and that's being generous. As someone who's never played a GameCube, I could not understand how to play as Mario. The controls were too confusing. In literally 10 minutes, I gave up and haven't touched it since.
And I was one of those unfortunate souls that beat it multiple times on the actual GameCube, and they actually made it worse in 3D All-Stars.
Oh my gosh. So, Mario Galaxy is one of my favourite Mario games. I beat it a few years ago on the Wii, and seeing it come back on the Switch made me so happy. Like, the music, the scenery, the graphics were amazing. What I hated was two things. The first one, and Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but did they change this? Back on the Wii, you had to shake the controller to spin, but on the Switch, do you get to just press a button, or is it the same?
You can press the Y button to spin, but you can also shake the controller as well. They give you the option, whereas on the Wii, you had to shake it.
Yeah, well, I didn't like shaking the controller. It was just annoying and painful. The second thing I hated was the camera. When you had Mario moving upside down, it honestly made me feel sick. I know why they did it, but I just personally didn't like it, and I wanted them to change it on the Switch, but they didn't, and it made me not fully complete the game because it just gave me a headache.
Super Mario Galaxy 2 does much better at making you feel like you're usually right side up.
That's good. So, you could probably go more depth about Super Mario Sunshine because I literally know nothing about that game.
Only Super Mario Sunshine?
I mean, you can go in depth with the others if you really want to.
Well, we gotta get around to the rest of this list eventually, so I guess I'll stick to Mario Sunshine for now. So Super Mario Sunshine was a graphical masterpiece at the time that it came out. Like, jumping from Super Mario 64 to the GameCube was astonishing. And the commercials made it out like this is the future of Mario. This is like the best looking game ever. To this day, the water alone is like still so much fun to look at and swim around in. I really like the camera. I know that's a controversial topic, but I am actually one of the defenders of that game's camera. I think it's aged a little bit poorly compared to like some Wii U games, but compared to what you had to put up with in Super Mario 64 with the C buttons and sometimes the camera not working at all, Super Mario Sunshine was a clear improvement. I also really liked how there were moments when Mario's water pack flood was taken away and he just had to do this a cappella obstacle course where this choir was singing the Mario theme song, and it didn't make any sense at all, but it like reinvigorated the feeling of playing Super Mario 64 again. And Delfino Plaza is a really great hub world. It's fun to run around and jump in, and there's not really anything dangerous in the hub world, and I really wish they would have brought that back in Super Mario Galaxy 2, but because of Shigeru Miyamoto, we can't have good story in Mario games anymore. Super Mario Sunshine had voice acting. It was terrible, but it was something. But Nintendo thought, rather than trying to improve the voice acting in the next game, let's just get rid of it altogether. So, swing and a miss.
I feel like you're defending Super Mario Sunshine.
I'm both defending it and hating it, because I recently replayed it again myself when 3D All-Stars came out, and I thought it actually was way worse on the Switch than it was on the GameCube. Because the GameCube did a really good job at analog control, whereas on the Switch it felt like Mario was either running too fast, and then you tried to make him tiptoe, and then your hand would slip, and he'd just go running off the edge again. And the controls, like Peggle said, they were just awful, and they were even worse on the Switch. Like, at least on the GameCube, they were tolerable, but on the Switch, they were a nightmare. And the easiest platforming sections ever took me like 5 tries on the Switch, where it would have only taken me 1 on the GameCube.
I was literally in the tutorial and I couldn't figure it out. Like, I was trying to move and shoot the water at the same time, but the Switch was like, yeah, nah, you gotta figure it out. And I was like, how dare you?
Speaking of the tutorial, they actually censored FLUDD during a tutorial. Like, in the original GameCube button, or in the original... Okay, take 2. In the original GameCube version, when it was telling you to spray the water, it would say, press the R button to spray the water. But in the Switch version, it just awkwardly says, press the button. Because they couldn't bother to have the actor re-record the lines, because the voice acting was terrible enough, so why couldn't Nintendo just... I think a lack of effort was a really big problem throughout 3D All-Stars, but at least they included the soundtracks to each game as a bonus.
Yeah.
And I take it that's why you included it on your list?
Yes, because there's like one song I like from Super Mario Sunshine that I really do like. It is a water level one, and I love the water level songs in Mario games, so that's why I liked it.
You paid $60 for one song.
I know. So what's your number 9, Paul?
My number 9 is none other than Sonic Mania. Now, Peggle might be a little bit too young to understand the appeal of the blue burr.
Yes.
Gosh, why am I flubbing up my words so much? The blue blur. Blur. Get it right, Paul. You're not a Japanese person. You know how to say the letter L. Sonic was basically supposed to be like everything Mario wasn't. Whereas Mario was slow and sluggish, Sonic was zooming through all the levels at breakneck speed. Then towards recent years, the developers didn't really seem to know what to do with Sonic. Every 3D entry just seemed to be getting worse, to the point where Sonic 2006 is considered one of the worst games ever made.
Oh gosh.
Then a team of hackers came up to Sega when Sega was doing a contest of like, show me like what you would like to see in the next Sonic game. So one hacker just said, here's a hack of Sonic 2. And Sega loved it so much that they said, hey, if we publish your game, can you guys like make a new Sonic game, and they did! It still goes to show you that Sega does what Nintendo don't. So basically, yeah, you might be too young to know that slogan too.
Wow, okay.
Basically Sonic Mania looks like a Genesis game, plays like a Genesis game. It's basically everything that was great about the old Sonic games. If you don't like the old Sonic games, you probably won't like Sonic Mania. But if you're like, we need to return to the form of gameplay that Sonic 3 had, oh my gosh, this not only returns to it, but does it better. And it has a Mean Bean Machine minigame as a bonus. So, youngin', do you have anything you want to say about Sonic?
I like the movies.
Okay, well, I guess we clearly know which one of us is older here, so...
Well, look, I've known who Sonic was. I've known him for many years. I never got into a game of Sonic because I never really had a console to play a Sonic game, and I just never really got into it, and it wasn't until, holy crap, has it already been a year now? Probably like it wasn't until I watched that live-action Sonic movie that I was like, you know what? This is actually pretty cool. So,
That means you should get Sonic Mania.
yeah.
It's on the Switch.
Oh,
I mean, obviously it's on the Switch, or we wouldn't be putting it on the list.
yeah. So I do like the game. I guess the games are cool. I guess. No one can replace my Knuckles. Knuckles is precious.
Knuckles is in Sonic Mania, so you
Ooh.
can play as him the whole game. There's even an unlockable mode called And Knuckles mode, where no matter what character you have, Knuckles will follow behind you even if you're playing as Knuckles. So you can hypothetically play through the game as Knuckles and Knuckles.
That's amazing. I seriously
All
need to
based
get.
on
I need to get
Sega.
into the. I need to get into the Sonic team, but I was always on Team Mario.
Well, this was made by hackers, not by Sonic Team. So these guys know how to make a better Sonic game than the Sonic creators. So, gosh,
And I mean-
we live in a good timeline.
And I mean, I played as him in Smash, so
Yeah, and Smash did a pretty good job of making him faithful to both the 3D and 2D games. And the spirit battles were cool too.
yes.
So what is your number 9, Peggle?
I said my number 9.
Oh yeah, you did. This is why she writes the notes. So I guess I should be asking you what your number 8 is.
Yeah, so my number 8 is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Or as I like to call it, Stupid Mario 3D World.
How dare you? Now this game, I would have rated a lot higher if we were doing a top 10 Wii U games. But since they brought it to the Switch, not only has it been beaten by other games, Nintendo did an awesome thing where they added pretty much a whole new game in it. Now, I would love it if Paul could quickly say something, like talk about Bowser's Fury, because I still haven't gotten around to playing it. So, if you want, you could comment on Bowser's Fury.
I haven't played by far the best part of the whole port.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really... I found other
Gosh.
games.
Okay, so to clue you in on your ignorance, the premise of Bowser's Fury is that Mario visits a place called Lake Lapcat. He discovers that Bowser's been corrupted by this black goop that has made him into Fury Bowser, where he's like humongous and can hit Mario from anywhere on the map. So Mario has to keep finding cat shines so that he can eventually open the Gigabell shrine so that he can turn into Giga Cat Mario.
Or Super
From what I heard,
Saiyan.
it's very reminiscent.
Super Saiyan Cat Mario.
And then Mario's like the same size as Bowser, and they duke it out with all the levels that you're on just being little tiny little platforms. So when you're not battling this super amazing, ferocious Bowser, you're running around an open world Mario game with really incredible music when you're sailing across the sea. And it's just more platforming challenges, but the camera actually works, unlike Super Mario 3D World. You can do the levels out of order, unlike Super Mario 3D World. The game is actually fun, unlike Super Mario 3D World. The depth perception is still atrocious, so they couldn't learn from everything. but at least the depth of perception is not as bad as Super Mario 3D World. So, care to defend a game that I hate so much?
Oh yes, I have a paragraph. Look, I'll quickly say something about Bowser's Fury. I love the graphics of this new game, and of course, Bowser's new form was amazing. But
Should have been in Smash. But
I
at
know.
least you got a spirit battle in Smash.
it just felt weird having Bowser Jr. suddenly be like, "Help me! My dad is corrupted," and he's pretty much your ally during it, from what I've seen. Also,
Choose how much of an ally he is, which I think is really cool. Like, you could say, "Shut up, don't bother me," and then he won't help you. Or you can say, "Help me out a ton" if you really stink.
yeah, I'll probably do that. I'll probably do the second option. I mean, he's my son after all.
Gosh, guys, she's in a relationship with the turtle. She needs help.
Also, I've been told this new game is actually quite hard, especially when Bowser randomly decides to be a butt, so that pushed me back a little bit. Like, I don't like random encounters very much, so...
I wouldn't say it's hard. It can just be frustrating if you don't have a Bowser amiibo.
But moving to 3D World, the game is no different from the Wii U edition. Mario...
It is very different from the Wii U version. There's a lot of quality of life improvements they made.
Uh-huh.
Still terrible, but it's way better than it was on the Wii U at least.
So, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Blue Toad are walking together watching the fireworks when they find a broken clear pipe. Mario and Luigi, being the plumbers they are, fix it, and a green fairy, or as the game calls them, pixies, come out and...
Sprixies,
Oh,
to be
it's
exact.
Sprixies. I don't know, I just call them pixies because it sounds funny. Comes out and asks for their help, saying that Bowser has kidnapped all her Sprixie friends. Bowser then comes out of the pipe and kidnaps her, so the heroes have to go after him in this new world.
That opening is the best part of the whole game,
I
by
know,
the way.
I know, right? Going through 8 worlds and saving these little Sprixies and defeat Bowser until Bowser, being my stubborn husband he is, kidnaps them again, all at once, and brings them to, I kid you not, a flipping Disneyland carnival, which I like to call Bowser
You're
Land.
spoiling the game now?
Yep.
It's a Mario game. It's not like they care about the story.
I literally call it Bowser Land, and you defeat Cat Bowser, or as the game likes to call him, Meowser. Now, I love this game heaps. However, I feel like there didn't need to be too many levels in each world. It felt dragged out, and some levels were really boring. Also, defeating Bowser in the first world, I didn't enjoy. They should have never done that and just saved Bowser's fight at World 8. So,
Yeah, I think the problem most Mario games have is facing him too many times.
well, yeah. Well, there you go. There's my comment. So, and I don't have a problem with the camera, unlike someone here.
Well, you don't have a problem with the camera because the camera doesn't exist in that game. They, like, for some reason refuse to let you actually look around and force you into this awkward isometric view. Now, that worked in Super Mario 3D Land because that was a 3DS game and it had what's called stereoscopic 3D. Wii U never had that. So, in a game that relied on the system's gimmick to help you make the jumps, is now just saying, just make the jumps, you're fine.
So, you got any more lovely comments to say about 3D World, or shall we move on to your number 8?
Well, credit where credit is due. I do really like the graphics and the music. I think the big band style works really well for Mario, and I also think it's very, very good looking. Like, it was one of the best looking Wii U games, and it looks even better, not much, but slightly better on the Switch. And I do like that they improved the character's speed so that they can get through the boring levels faster.
Yes.
If you play the Wii U game, they're like sluggishly slow. Like, Toad on the Wii U is slower than the slowest character on the Switch.
Wow.
So we can move on if you want, because I don't want to punch something by talking about such a terrible game.
Okay, well, we'll go on to your number 8 now, which I'm sure you've got a lot more to talk about than me with this.
So my number 8 is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I didn't want to add duplicates on this list, so I didn't do Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. What I really like about Age of Calamity is it's a canonical prequel to Breath of the Wild, and even though it's a Warriors game at heart, it feels like a first-party Nintendo game, even though it wasn't. So yet another item on my list that was a Nintendo game not made by Nintendo, where it feels like Breath of the Wild Warriors as opposed to Hyrule Warriors, where you can eat apples to restore your health and beat enemies up with fire and lightning rods, and you can even do the slow motion dodging that Breath of the Wild had. And it's just so much fun to play through iconic locations, but with a whole bunch of enemies and over-the-top combos. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people might find that the action gets a bit too repetitive, and the story is very hit or miss. Like, there's a certain twist that a lot of the fans hated, and some, probably even Peggle and her boyfriend, would debate if it's technically considered canon. I'm in the camp that says it is, but I don't want to say how it is, because that itself will spoil something. It got DLC. The DLC was okay, but the DLC did let Zelda ride a motorcycle, which completely made it worth it for me.
Yeah, that's true.
And they even had spirit battles of some of the characters in Age of Calamity, which I thought was really cool. Any opportunity I can get to talk about spirit battles, I will.
Ah, yes.
So I know you're not much of a Warriors person, but you've seen your boyfriend play Breath of the Wild before, so do you think Age of Calamity does a good job of capturing that game's feel?
I mean, from what I've seen, a tiny smidge of Age of Calamity, actually, and based on what I've seen, I don't really know how I feel about it. Kind of, when I saw Fire Emblem, like, from the Nintendo Direct, I was like, what is this, Age of Calamity? so, I kind of felt like I got Fire Emblem, like Age of Calamity vibes from Fire Emblem. So,
I mean, the Warriors games in general are based off of a series known as Dynasty Warriors, and then in 2014, Nintendo had the bright idea of adding Zelda characters to that formula. So then that was so popular that then they made a remake of that on 3DS, but the 3DS version ran so terribly that they had to make a definitive edition on Switch. But then they said, let's not stop there, let's expand the story of Breath of the Wild, and so then they made Age of Calamity. And then Fire Emblem got some Warriors games, Persona 5 got one before we even got Persona 5. Like, it's amazing how much the Warriors games have translated over into other franchises, besides just generic Japanese battle men.
So we'll move on to my number 7, since I don't have too much to talk about with Age of Calamity.
Because you're not the Age of Calamity yet.
No. So my number 7 is a series of games that Paul loves so much. This one I chose Pokemon Sword. Now it's probably going to annoy some people because I said Pokemon Sword and it's not Arceus. So I want to come in and say right now that this was my first official game to the Pokemon series, so I'm very new to it, so of course I'm going to treat it as my baby. So this game, with also Pokemon Shield, is pretty much like any other Pokemon game. Catch all the Pokemon, complete the Pokedex, defeat gym leaders, and beat the champion. You and your best friend Hop join a competition to beat all the gym leaders, and then beat Hop's big brother, the champion, Leon. Now, there's a story about the legendary Pokemon that the game is named after, but honestly, I don't really know too much about it, apart from something terrible happened many years ago and these two Pokemon helped. I don't want to spoil too much with the story of the game, because honestly, it's fun to find out who is behind the modern stuff that happens. With this new game, it involves something that Pokemon has never done before: Dynamaxing. Now, this is when your Pokemon basically becomes a giant version of themselves and is much stronger, and honestly, I love it. It's so much fun using, and you feel so much stronger. Granted, it makes battles a bit easier, but honestly, I didn't care. Also, with the DLCs that came out for it, the Max Lair Dynamax Caves are what everyone is talking about, and I love it. It is so much fun playing with friends and getting some legendaries, and honestly, it's my favorite way to get shinies. However, I wish the shiny hunting for legendaries were easier. It's quite hard to get them. I've, like so much so I've heard people be over 2,000 encounters till they get a shiny, which is dumb. So, I'll let Paul talk smack about his favorite series. So, go ahead.
I almost disconnected during that whole thing.
Oh, did
I was
you?
like, what the heck? This game is terrible.
Go on.
I better not open my mouth anymore because I have nothing but bad. I mean, as much as I hate 3D World, I at least had some things that I liked about it. With Sword and Shield, I can't think of a single compliment. Like, even the wild area, which would hypothetically be like, oh, there's your Breath of the Wild moment. It looks atrocious. Like, I've seen better texture Rick and Majora's Mask.
You don't
So
like the
I
music or the graphics?
Oh, the music is terrible. Like, I wish that, like, you and Pegasus would just mute the music and the sound effects. All the sound effects are terrible, too. They're just so grindy, and they sound like they're on the Game Boy. And not only that, but, like, Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise in the world. And yet it feels like it's made by an indie company. So why do they not take advantage of all those funds to make it, like Pokken Tournament or New Pokemon Snap? Those games look like they're supposed to be on the Switch. This game looks like it's supposed to be on the Nintendo 64.
So you don't like the Dynamaxing when they become big?
If it was more graphically impressive, I think I would, but the music is so terrible, and the sound effect when they make the growl it just grates on my eardrums.
Oh yeah, I know. That's not good.
I don't know. And not only that, but like sometimes you and Pegasus will like do entire streams where all you do is Dynamaxing, so it's like, okay, sheesh, I want to see some other stuff in the game, will ya?
Oh, look, I've been thinking about trying to do that, but I don't know. I'm just trying to hunt for my Disco Man. Well,
I think my numbers.
Oh, I was gonna say your number 7 is going to be a great talk because now I can actually talk about a game on your list that I've played.
Both of us actually really love my number 7, assuming you guys haven't left the video already because of all my negative comments. My number 7 is Undertale. Now, I had never actually played Undertale until it came to the Switch because I'm not really a non-Nintendo guy that much. Undertale is the kind of game that you're really supposed to go in as blind as possible to, because it's the kind of game where you think that it doesn't really mean anything. It's just this very simple, like anyone could cook this up in 5 minutes type of RPG. And then it becomes so self-aware and hilarious. And it does a great job of making you feel like every single action has consequence, even if it's a very delayed reaction to those consequences. There's 3 different ways to play it. I've only played it in 2 versions, and I greatly enjoyed both of them. I think it has one of the most satisfying payoffs in any video game I have ever played. And I really love just going back and re-experiencing some of the battles because Toby Fox just really knows how to program so well. And the writing is so funny. Granted, you have to be like a certain type of internet savvy to get most of the jokes. Like my mom could not figure out why most of the dialogue was funny when I tried to read it to her. But if you can appreciate a lot of extremely self-aware, like of its generation type of writing, then you'll find Undertale to be a blast. The only major complaint I have about it is that it's too slow. Like, the character doesn't have a run button, and there are sequences where you're literally told, walk down a hallway, and that's like all you do. There's no enemies, there's no obstacles, you're literally just walking down an empty hallway, and you can't speed it up. And it's like, oh my gosh, do you have to walk everywhere? Like, at least in Deltarune you have a run button, so at least Toby Fox learned something.
Yes. Well, I love Undertale. I can see why people love it, and I can totally agree that the game, the music, the story is amazing. And based on now that I've played the Pacifist and Neutral run, it's really good, and I really like how it all played out. It was really nice to watch it all, and I got a bit emotional during some bits, so, you know, it was nice.
Yeah, I guess you could say emotional is one way to word it. I definitely got a couple of goosebumps up my cheeks at certain moments because, again, the game does such a good job of making you feel like your actions have consequences. I don't want to say how exactly, but let's just say that if you do good, you will be rewarded. If you don't, you will be punished. That's not an understatement.
Yes, and currently I am playing the genocide route, and I understand why people not like they like it, but then they don't like it at the same time. For starters,
Point.
yeah, for starters, it can get boring at some bits, but also the fights are absolutely some of the most of them are easy. It's two of them, however, that are absolutely a nightmare, which is what people gave up on the most. So.
But I do appreciate that Toby is so self-aware of what people don't like in video games that he made that particular route unappealing on purpose and tried to convince you not to play it as a commentary on completionists, which I really love games that try to call out players for behavior that doesn't make any sense. Now we just need a game that calls out shiny hunting. That would be amazing.
Yes, once I finish, try to finish Genocide, I guarantee I probably won't. I can't wait to start getting into Deltarune, which is the second installment of that Toby Fox did. It's not story-wise with Undertale, it's just this exists.
Well, I don't want to say too much about Deltarune, but it's kind of like a what-if Undertale scenario, where it does have a few of the characters returning, but in a different setting and a different story. And Deltarune is actually an anagram of Undertale. So far there's only 2 chapters out. Both of them are free, by the way. And there's plans to be 7 altogether. So Toby must have some really cool ideas for another way to commentate on video games, and I'm so excited to see what he does next. But again, I'm not going to spoil anything for Peggle, because she's eventually going to stream it before she turns 8.
Yes, apparently I'm 8.
No, you're 7.
Oh, okay. Apparently I'm that young. Well, number 6 for me is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is shockingly still so popular after it coming out back in 2017. Honestly, Nintendo, just give us Mario Kart 9. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is basically the quote-unquote DLC for Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, but because some people, a lot of people hated the Wii U, which, by the way, I loved the Wii U.
Me too.
It wasn't very popular that Nintendo was like, well, here's a new console. Let's release the game with a bunch of new courses and other characters to play with. So,
unlike the 3DS, Nintendo didn't bother to reward those of us who were actually loyal to them and bought a Wii U. They decided to make sure the Wii U never happened and released a bunch of full-priced ports, whereas for people that bought the original 3DS before the price cut, they gave them a whole bunch of free games they couldn't get anywhere else. So, why couldn't we have gotten a discount on your Wii U ports, Nintendo?
So, this was my third Mario Kart game I played. I played Mario Kart Wii, and then Mario Kart 64 was my first. And I gotta say, there was a lot of courses I never heard of. Sadly, I didn't get it too much into the DS and the 3DS. My parents were poor, apparently. So this game is so much fun. I don't have too many problems with this game. Until the newest DLC came out just a few days ago as of this recording. I think because people were begging for Mario Kart 9, they weren't ready with it and rushed out these first 8 courses to make the fans happy, busy, and make more money with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, it definitely didn't match up to the quality of what was on the Wii U. So
Yeah.
Nintendo's failure of a system did better on Nintendo's success of a system. That is terrible logic.
Now, the DLC tracks are great, especially bringing back Coconut Mall from the Wii, which is actually my second favorite course of all time. But they feel
I actually really like Coconut Mall as well, but I think that it actually looks and plays worse on the Switch because they replaced the Mii's with generic Shy Guys, and it feels so empty and lifeless.
Yeah.
And then they replaced the escalators with generic boost pads. And it's like, that doesn't happen in a mall. What the heck?
Yeah, it's like like I was saying, I was gonna say they feel unfinished and empty, which I didn't like. I mean, this game has wonderful graphics, but then the DLC comes out and the graphics get thrown out the window.
Graphics look like they would be amazing on the Wii.
Yeah.
Terrible on the Wii U.
Yeah, like I really hope that the next wave of next waves have better graphics and they take their time. And of course, I hope Waluigi Pinball comes so I can actually experience the still best ranked Mario Kart course. So,
I mean, I personally probably wouldn't put Waluigi Pinball that high, but I do agree that it's a very, very creative course, and one of its music tracks got into Smash, which I think the remix did a spectacular job.
So, do you have any more to say about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or shall we move on to your one?
Well, I've actually been a huge fan of Mario Kart 8 ever since the Wii U. I was actually a huge fan of that back when the DLC was coming out for the Wii U, so I had no idea that a deluxe port was in the works. So I just thought Mario Kart 8 felt like a next generation Nintendo game at the time it came out. The graphics were amazing, and I could not stop myself from jaw dropping down or saying like, whoa, with every single course. And then the DLC came out, and you would have never guessed it was DLC because it had just the same amount of care and dedication. Originally, when I heard it was going anti-gravity, I thought it would be really gimmicky. Then it turned out that they actually integrated it really well, possibly even better than the Galaxy games. One thing that kind of stunk about the Wii U original, though, was that it didn't have a very good battle mode. Like, they just took a couple of race tracks and just said, okay, duke it out, guys. And they weren't really designed for battling at all, so 8 Deluxe came and just decided to do a total reset, where they made courses specifically for battling, and they even brought in a Splatoon stage, because they could.
They did. They were like, why not?
Yeah. And I think that is one of the main reasons why 8 Deluxe is selling so well, because battle mode has been a beloved staple of Mario Kart ever since the Super Nintendo version. And when the one on the Wii U butchered it so badly, people are like, can't be only one Mario Kart game with a bad battle mode. We gotta hurry up and fix this. And apparently 8 Deluxe came out like maybe 2 years after the DLC was finalized for regular 8, so that is an insane amount of porting work that was done in just a short amount of time. Maybe that's why they didn't release new tracks right away. It was because they had to hurry up and save Mario Kart because it was trapped on a dying system or something like that. I don't know.
Yes.
I do really appreciate the auto acceleration feature because I hate the Switch Joy-Cons, and it gives my fingers a chance to rest.
Yeah, I like that too, and I also like the smart steering. That helps a lot. I like it because a lot of people have told me this. It's a lot harder to drift. I actually disagree with that. I find it a lot easier. The smart steering has helped me a lot to learn how to drift better and not fall off the course. So I really like it.
I guess on certain stages that would make sense, because usually you don't drift into a canyon. Usually most of the drifting sections are like with a fence or something to stop you.
Mm.
So I think that is a good feature. I just think sometimes it's a little bit too helpful. Like if you have one of those super golden dash mushrooms, you can like try to fall off the cliff and the game won't even let you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
what, sorry?
I would say that I would definitely agree with your placement. I almost put mine on the top 10 as well. I just have so many other games that I've played that Peggle hasn't even heard of. So I wanted to give them some love, but I would say Kazaa to you for putting such a fun game on your list.
Yes. Well, you want to go into your, number 6, which is interestingly going to be my number 5.
Well, that can get us through this a little bit faster in that case.
Definitely.
My number 6 is Mario Party Superstars.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Both of us have so many good things to say about that game. I think Peggle summed it up really nicely in my soon-to-be-released 600 subscriber celebration video. It's just fun. I would have to agree. It's mainly catered toward people that have a lot of nostalgia for the older Mario Party games, especially the ones on the Nintendo 64. But people like me would say, who cares? This is how Mario Party should always be. Why did it take them so darn long to figure that out? So they finally just gave up on adding a bunch of gimmicks and just said, we are going to make it like so faithful to the original games to a fault. We're not even going to innovate. It really doesn't have like any new features besides like quality of life stuff. Like for example, practice mode. You don't have to get into a separate minigame session. You can just do it on the how to play screen. That's one quality of life improvement. Some of the boards have been rearranged to be a little less frustrating, but overall, it's old Mario Party with a new coat of paint. And my gosh, I wish this would be the standard going forward because I have so much nostalgia for the old boards and old minigames. I could do without those control stick rotating ones though. That is probably my biggest gripe. Is those were the games that were so infamous for causing kids blisters on their palms on the Nintendo 64 that Nintendo was forced to offer free gloves to anyone who had proof of that. And yet, they still put those games into Mario Party Superstars with a warning on the how to play screen saying, don't use your palm to rotate the control stick. It's like, that's a terrible way to fix the problem. Just don't put them in at all, because no one liked them.
Yes. Well,
Do you have anything you want to add to
yes. Well, I really love this game. Any Switch game that involves any Switch game that involves N64 succeeds with my heart. I mean, like, we're playing old Nintendo 64 stages, which looks awesome 20, 30 years later. I love the graphics. I love the music. It's always so fun to play with our friends. And we have online! Which,
It's actually pretty good most of the time.
which has improved a lot since Super Mario Party, and there's barely any lag during gameplay, unless for some reason my internet wants to be lazy.
But I would say those instances are much fewer and farther between than other online games I've played.
Yeah, definitely. The only main thing I get annoyed about this, and this is more personal, you can't play as Bowser. Now, I know that in Mario Party, he's never really been a playable character until Super Mario Party, but it would be a cool thing to play as him, or even Bowser Jr.
Well, technically you play as Bowser in Mario Party 10, but it's in its
Yeah.
own dedicated mode called Bowser Party, where it's like everyone against Bowser.
Yeah, it's a bit...
He did become like...
It's a...
Yeah, that game was very divided.
Yeah, like, we don't talk about that game. That game doesn't exist.
We don't talk about... I've only heard the song once, so I don't know the exact lyrics, but we
That's
don't
okay.
talk about Mario Party 10, no.
Yes, yes. Like, another small thing I would have loved to come back from Super Mario Party, and this is honestly how I feel, like, this is how I feel about it, like, I feel the characters' dice, like, the ones from Super Mario Party, like, when the characters had, like, their own dice, were actually so much fun, and I really wanted them to come back in, Superstars. Like, I know this new game is a remake from the old ones, but it just would have been nice if they added some things from Super Mario Party.
Yeah, I will admit the customized dice blocks were pretty cool.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think the reason why Superstars didn't add them was because they were very unfair. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mario Party is known for being unfair, but one thing that it's always done well until Mario Party 7 was that each character was equal. Like, no matter who you picked, you would have an equal chance at winning. Whereas in Mario Party 7, you would get character-specific orbs, and then in Mario Party 10, you had Bowser on the gamepad taking up like a huge amount of space, and then in Super Mario Party, each person had their own die, which some were really good and some were really bad. So I think Nintendo was like, well, not only do we want this to be a faithful remake, we also want to go back to that style where each character is on an equal footing. Although our mutual friend would disagree with Donkey Kong, but that's his opinion. I don't think that's actually true. I think that's just his opinion.
Maybe I'm giving Super Mario Party too much credit since it was actually the first Mario Party game I actually ever played.
It was so much fun to make a review of on my YouTube channel. I really hope you'll watch that sometime.
Yes. Well, I know you have a lot to talk about with your number 5 since it's literally your favorite game ever.
Well, if it was my favorite game ever, it wouldn't only be a number 5.
Well, I mean, but
It was my favorite game of 2021, I think is what she's trying to say here.
yes.
So, number 5 for me is Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. And I honestly feel so strange saying that because I really, really hate dating simulators. I hate the concept of waifus and husbandos. I really don't like anime cutesy girls doing suggestive poses to get attention. That stuff, it like repulses me to no end. And I hate it when modern Fire Emblem games try to incorporate that into the gameplay. But Doki Doki did such a good job of taking an overused genre and saying, sorry, and then the twist halfway through the game just makes everything... I don't want to say what happens, but it's basically a satire of romance games. And it is a blast to discover all of the Easter eggs that you missed the first time around, and to see how often the game will try to throw you for a loop. Now, it's possible that the reason why I have this so high up is because I had never played the original Doki Doki Literature Club, so when it came to the Switch, it was a brand new experience for me. From what I've been told, the main game is basically exactly the same. So if you don't like the side stories, then you probably just want to get it on the PC, because it's free. But I actually really did like the side stories. Granted, they didn't have any gameplay, but they were just such... It was great to see the characters that had originally been designed to deliberately be overly cliched on purpose to make a point, have actual depth in the side stories to the point where I could actually sympathize with a lot of them, as opposed to being like, they're just computer characters, what the heck.
Yeah.
So have you actually played Doki Doki Literature Club?
I have actually. I've actually played the Switch version and have completed it. Not 100%.
Percented it?
Not 100%, but I have beaten like the main story of it, and freaked me out. When I first heard about Doki Doki, I was like, this is cute. And then I saw some, I saw a picture of a certain character with a very triggering thing. And I was like, alright, this ain't fun. I need to see what's going on with this game. So I actually watched Game Theory, MatPat's like theories on it, and I was
Oh my gosh.
nuts about them. I was like, what? That's what this game is about? Are you kidding me? Like how they have done what they did with the twist, and how they worked with like the game files and all that in your computer is so creepy, and like every person's worst nightmare when it comes to a hacker. So I just thought that was so cool.
I think I would agree with everything you said, that it does a good job of like being creepy in ways that you wouldn't expect. But I'd also like to add that Dan Salvato actually started out as a hacker for Super Smash Bros. Melee, which is
Oh.
why he included so many of those Easter eggs that MatPat found. But also, he's an American. He
Whoa.
made, yes, he's an American that made the game all about anime because he himself is like me, where he doesn't like anime, so he made Doki Doki as a satire of the thing that he hated.
Okay. Yes, I look, as much as I love this game, the stuff that happens in it is not for the faint of heart, and if you're someone that has gone through some very triggering experiences, this game probably really isn't for you. Because it has like I think one of the tags for the game is psychological horror.
But at least the game itself warns you that
It
it's gonna be
does. It
triggering.
warns
as
you
soon
like
as you
three.
started-
I think it warns you like 3 times. Like, yo, watch out.
And the Switch version adds an additional feature where you can trigger advanced warnings, where it can like pop up and say like this scene is about to have a sexual reference, so that you can be even more prepared.
Yeah, so when like as much as I love this game because like I've been through some of the experiences that some of these girls have had, especially with Sayori. I related to her a lot in a sort of way that it made me feel a bit uncomfortable. But I still like the game. I like its story. Just the triggering stuff is a bit whoa. It's out there.
Then, as soon as you realize that it's all just a game, then that makes it a lot easier to stomach.
Yeah. I also like with this one that came on the Switch, I like the new additions that came on. And Monica got a picture of her like playing on the piano. It was so cute. I loved it.
A lot of them got new pictures and new
Yeah.
music for the side stories, and you have a soundtrack player so that you can play them whenever you want.
And I just loved what they did with I just don't want to spoil it too much, but like with near the end, how they make it look like a computer screen, but on the Switch they kind of make it look they make it look completely different. It looks
I know what you're talking about, but I don't want to spoil it if I'm right.
But yeah, like
So we can just go ahead and.
it's just it's really good game, and I would have rated it on my list, but I just found other games that were a bit more entertaining.
Yeah, it's definitely not a very fun game. Like, it's an insane amount of reading.
Oh,
And
yes.
the choices and actual gameplay that you do is pretty minimalistic. But I think the way that it uses the choices in the gameplay to its advantage, like, makes it fun in retrospect. But again, I don't want to spoil it. But, like, it's made the way it is on purpose. So I guess any flaws that it has actually make the game better. Which, how many games can actually say that the flaws are intentional and that they actually make the game good?
And I know there's another one coming because, for those who have seen Matt Pat's videos, he found a decoded thing where they said they were going to release a game in 2018, but I think the creator had a bit of mental problems, so he wanted to take a step back with the
Actually,
game.
That's been disproven
Oh,
by
has
Dan
it?
Salvato himself. He said that he put that stuff in there because he knew that other hackers like himself would recognize all of the tricks, because again, he was a modder for Super Smash Bros. Melee. So manipulating game files and all that, he knew the internet would find that out, so he decided, I'm just gonna put in all the stuff so that they can like be surprised.
So we don't
But
know if
he
there's
said that-
anything happening after the game.
He has no idea what he's gonna do going forward, but Project Limbatina is definitely not his next project.
Damn
unless
it.
he changes his mind. Well, I guess you'll just have to fill in the blanks yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I just love that story with Project Libertima. But I guess we'll see if he ever does something with it.
Well, Team Salvato is made up of one person, so we'll have to see if he gets a team to help him out if that does become a reality. But he didn't plan on it when he put those Easter eggs in.
Alright, well, coming in at number 4 for me is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, I'm gonna be honest, as much as I love this game, I have not played this game properly with friends ever since Sora came out. After Sora came out, I truly feel like Smash died not too long after, which is sad because people were begging for Sora, and then once he comes out, people just don't play it much anymore. Now, this game is really fun. I've got many hours on this game from playing it back when I still went to school with friends. Even though I literally am terrible at this game, it's still always fun. Especially when I win once in a blue moon. However, there's two things I don't really like about this game, and Paul's gonna kick my butt for this. I personally don't like the World of Light story. It's just a really weird way to try to unlock the characters. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot easier, but this was my second Smash game, so Paul, you can confirm, like, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I think other Smash games, you didn't have to unlock the characters, like, you already had them.
Well, you had more characters in the other Smash games unlocked from the start, but unlocking them was usually a pain in the neck. So, Smash Ultimate made it both easier and harder at the same time, because you could do World of Light, which took longer, but the fights were easier, or you could wait for the fighters to challenge you, where they were much harder, but they came a lot quicker. And on the topic of World of Light, I can see why you would say that, especially after Subspace Emissary and Brawl was, like, so incredible with its cutscenes. But I'll have more to say about World of Light, hopefully, if I remember to, when we get to my number 1, because I love Smash way more than she does, and you might have noticed I've been referencing Smash this whole video, so...
Yeah, it was just an annoying way to get us to play the story, plus there's too many levels. After I got almost all the characters, I just got my friend to help me unlock the last few characters I had left by just playing it normally. The second thing I hate is online playing. Now, like 80% of the time, the game works fine, but if one person doesn't have the best internet, Smash Bros. Is just like, yep, let's make this harder for everyone else. And just
become Smash 64.
Yeah, and just lags terribly and makes everyone annoyed. Now, I'm always the one who doesn't have the best internet, but games like Splatoon 2, for example, works perfectly for me, and yet Smash just can't handle it. Honestly, if they had a look at what Splatoon did with the internet, this game would be much better online, but maybe I'm saying that because all my IRL friends are Aussies, and Aussies have crappy internet in general. But now, you can speak a little bit about Smash, if you'd like.
Well, I think we'll save it for my number 1, like you said, because oh my gosh, I can talk for eons about Smash, because I'm kind of like Smash Brothers in terms of my actual personality, where I'm like, my brain is a giant collection of memories and references, so I want to properly do it justice.
Okay, well then we can get into your number 4 then.
I can guarantee most of you probably have not played this. I'm hoping I can change at least one person's mind.
Raise my hand, have not played.
Yep, that includes you. My number 4 is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Journey for me to beat Xenoblade Chronicles probably took me about 10 years, give or take, because it first came out on the Wii, but then it was really hard to get because it was not only hard to find, but like at the time it was as expensive as a current Switch game is. So trying to save up the money for it, and then not only that, but because it was on the TV, I had to make sure that it was okay to be on the TV, because my mom was like, I don't like that guy yelling so much, and then it had suggestive themes, so I had to make sure my sister wasn't in the room so that she wouldn't see all of that, and it was just a nightmare to constantly have to shuffle with what was I supposed to be doing. And then it took batteries from the Wii remote, so I had to keep paying to play the game more, so that stunk. So then when it was announced for 3DS, I was like, yes, I can finally play the game wherever I want. And I got much farther in the 3DS version. but they didn't fix anything from the main game. So certain parts of it confused me, where I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't know what I'm doing here. So then when Definitive Edition came out, they actually made legitimate changes, besides just adding a soundtrack player. And the changes are pretty numerous, but a couple of the big ones are they remixed all the music, though if you don't like the remixes, you can choose to toggle the old music. They added a casual mode, so that if you're not good at RPGs, the enemies will be like easier. There's a whole new epilogue with an open world section, and graphics are much, much better than they were on the murky, ugly Wii. And to think I haven't even talked about the game itself.
Oh, come on, Paul.
So, if you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles at all, it's action RPG where you do your maneuvers in a menu, but you move your characters around in 3D space. Like, it doesn't transition to a new battle screen like other RPGs do. And Shulk, the main character, has a special sword called the Monado, which occasionally allows him to see the future. And this is actually used as a gameplay mechanic a few times, where Shulk will get visions of an enemy that's about to do an attack that'll finish off your party, and then you can run over to that party member and warn them so that they can do a counter move. And then then there's like a timer at the bottom of the screen that says like this many minutes until your character meets their fate, and then it'll shatter and the music will actually change to be more triumphant because you changed the future. That's all without talking about the fact that it has absolutely gorgeous landscapes. Probably I have more pictures on my Switch of that game than any other, because I just loved looking at all the scenery. And it has a beautiful story that it takes a while to get going because the game is so long, but it definitely is a very good payoff. I would say it's an even better story than Undertale, which is saying something. But it's also not trying to be a satire like Undertale is, so I can appreciate it as its own thing. And I can see why you would like it, because it's got a lot of very complicated mechanics. Trying to figure out the skill tree alone probably might turn you off, but if you can somehow put up with all that stuff, then you're in for an amazing experience that I'm really glad that the Americans who took part in Operation Thunderstorm convinced Nintendo to actually localize it.
Interesting.
So I know you know like nothing about this game besides what I've told you, but you have seen Shulk and Gower Plain and Pirate Mythra were in the next one, but you've seen Xenoblade Chronicles stuff in Smash, so did Smash like make you more interested in this franchise, or like how did you feel seeing Shulk in the game out of context?
I kid you not, I have the funniest story on how I first played as Shulk in Smash Ultimate. So, I was playing with my friend Rebel, and this was the first time that I played as him, and I accidentally kind of broke him a little bit, where I did a backslash twice, and then I did like some type of dodge. I did an air slash off the ground, and then I did a backslash into the KO area. And I made Rebel just wheeze for 5 minutes straight. It was great. Oh, it's just, I don't know why I did that. I had no idea what I was doing, so I was like, what's this button do? Ah, death.
Well, actually, that reminds me, I should probably give potential players a warning. If you play the Super Smash Bros. Games, they spoil a lot of the big twists in Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, they reveal, well, I don't want to say what they reveal, but they basically, like, spoil a lot of the biggest secrets. Shulk's final smash alone has a certain moment in it it's kind of blink and you miss it, but still, like, we weren't supposed to know that early in the game. That was supposed to be like a late game surprise. But I definitely don't really like how Smash is just like, we don't care, no one will ever play this game anyway, so let's just show the secret identity of this one character that's, again, supposed to be like halfway through the game you find that out.
That's hilarious.
So don't use Shulk's final smash, try to stay away from the spirit battles. And
Well, I've
just
seen
be very careful.
I've seen Shulk's Final Smash, but I have no idea what's going on with it. So
Yeah, but if you actually play the game, then you would probably be like, no, I was not supposed to see that.
okay, okay. Right. Well, speaking of when I was talking about Splatoon 2, that's my number 3 on my list.
We're moving past your number 4.
No, my number 4 was Smash.
Oh, right, because I don't have her list in front of me, guys, so I'm relying on her to make the executive choices, because this is going on her channel.
Yes. So yeah, I only played this game about a year ago, thanks to my friend Big Ree giving me the game for free, and he told me to put that in. He told me to put it in my script because if I didn't, he'd be really mad at me. At first, I thought, no, I don't really like shooting games. But when I joined the final Splatfest, which was Mushroom vs. Star, I honestly fell in love with the game. It's so much fun playing with people, running around and shooting and using specials. Honestly, this game has helped me make so many new online friends, which I really appreciate. And this was the game that got me and our friend Pegasus Angel to first meet. So, honestly, it's sad that I could only do one Splatfest, but I can't wait for the upcoming 3rd installment to play more Splatfests, as well as having all the new guns, specials, stages, music, and design choices for the characters. Now, one thing I didn't like about this game, and it's probably going to make a lot of people angry, and that's the story part of this game. Honestly, I find both the Inkling and Octoling stories quite boring, and I never really liked the stories in shooting style games. The Octo expansion annoyed me the most. Like, seriously, Nintendo, you're gonna have people play the hard mode just to unlock another species? It's really stupid and annoying. I never tried it myself. My friend Big Ree actually did it for me, and he beat it in 3 hours. And just watching him play it, I felt so bad for people who struggle with this mode. Honestly, they should have done what they're doing for Splatoon 3 and just have the Octoling available straight away.
Or just be like Smash, where you pay 75 cents for an Octoling wig.
Yeah. So, I know you just got into Splatoon 2 a little bit recently. So...
That's putting it mildly. I wouldn't say I'm into it. I would say that I did it so that our mutual friend would stop bugging me to play it. I'm still not very good at it. Like, I'm terrible at shooters in general. It's just, it feels really weird to aim a gun while moving at the same time, and I can never seem to get the reticle to go where I want it to. But I do really like the concept of making as much of a mess as opposed to actually hurting people is the objective. And I think a couple of times it's what enabled my team to win. Because we did splat the most turf, and I was like trying my best to be a pacifist, but then some of them got greedy and went after me. Most of them splatted them, but a few times I splatted Peggle.
You were, I think you were that one player that just runs around just trying to complete every single floor of ink, which is known as a completionist.
I mean,
So,
that's what you're supposed to do in Splatoon.
That's true.
So I think it's good for the shooter genre, and I definitely think Inklings were deserving of being in Smash. But I would just say that I need to really get a lot better before I can consider myself a diehard fan.
Yes. That's true. Yeah, I can't wait for the 3rd installment for Splatoon 3, which should be July is what I'm betting. People think it could be June, but I seriously think July. It's gonna be so good. Like that game, like Splatoon 3 is going to be skyrocketing through the roof with cells. So I'm excited for that.
Eventually they'll need to port over Splatoon 1 so that people are like, wait, why was Splatoon 2 on the Switch but not Splatoon 1?
I want Splatoon 1 on the Switch. I actually really want to see what was going on with the first game. I'm actually really interested in it.
Oh gosh.
I'm sorry,
Very
okay?
rude release.
I'm sorry, okay? I just want to see what's going on with the first game. from. I know it's not the best, but you know what? It was the first game. What did you expect? Something amazing.
And the Wii U wasn't particularly known for having new IPs.
Yeah.
So
Like even
the
like,
fact that Nintendo.
like even though the Wii U like wasn't that good, Splatoon 1 still was a pretty good success on the Wii U. It got some good sales.
I would say so, because, like, before Splatoon 2 came out, like, people played Splatoon 1 like heck. They just loved it so much. Then Splatoon 2 came around, and they're like, Splatoon 1, what's that? And they just totally forgot about it.
Yeah, it's like, huh? That exists? No, Splatoon 2 is where it's at.
Well, moving on to games that actually do still exist, what is your number 3?
That was my number 3.
Alright, it's my turn already.
Come on, Paul. Your number 3 is what we were talking about before we pressed recording.
My number 3 is Super Mario Odyssey, because I am a big fan of games that encourage exploration and the thrill of moving around. So when I said that Mario was fun to control in Super Mario Sunshine, like, dial that up to 11 and actually have good controls and huge levels that promote you to wander around every inch of it, almost literally in the case of some moons, and you get Super Mario Odyssey. The game is like a giant love letter to like everything that made Mario great. Like, it has its 2D platforming sections, it has its tough gauntlets, but it also returns to the like open world-ish nature of games like Super Mario 64. And you know me, as evidenced by Smash being my number 1 pick, I'm a sucker for games that reference the older games, and I love seeing like, wow, I love how this recaptures the magic of older games in the Mario series, especially a certain post-game surprise that gave me insane nostalgia for Super Mario 64. And then the ending is just so beautiful. I spoiled a little bit of it to Peggle. I'm sorry about that, but I love how Super Mario Odyssey ended, and I can't wait to see how Nintendo follows that up in the next mainline Mario game. It's going to be very interesting to see how the lore goes forward.
Yes, well, when I heard about Super Mario Odyssey, I was like, what? What? Is this the new installment we're going for now? Is this how Mario Bros is going to go now for the rest of eternity? And then I heard about how his hat, he can just throw his hat somewhere and then bam, he can be that object or person. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was really confused. I was like, why? What? I just thought it was so weird. I was like, what?
But at the end of the day, even as weird as it is, the hat actually made the game so much more fun, because Cappy could act as like an additional platform that Mario could jump on to make longer jumps, and there's no fall damage, so it allowed for more experimentation in 3D space. And unlike Super Mario 3D World, this game actually has spectacular depth perception and camera controls, which baffles me, because it's like, why didn't they learn from that in Bowser's Fury? But oh well. Maybe the next mainline 3D Mario game will learn from this one.
Honestly, I love the music. Obviously, the music is great in Super Mario Odyssey, especially Jump Up Superstar, whatever it's called.
Oh, Jump Up Superstar is so iconic that the inside of the box of Super Mario Odyssey has the lyrics to that song.
Legit, it's so fun, and I love it.
And they even got Pauline, like, you know, the original damsel in distress in Donkey Kong, to be the one who sings it in-game. Like, Nintendo actually acknowledged that there's another girl in the Mario universe besides Peach that Mario tried to save. Like, I think a lot of people thought that they were the same character, which my brothers still think that Peach and Rosalina are the same character in Mario Galaxy, so some people are just... Yeah, they seriously refuse to believe that Rosalina's her own character. They say, oh, Mario's trying to save her, she's replacing Peach. It's like, when Rosalina, one of her first sentences is, I know you're looking for your special someone. Like, really?
That's funny. So, we're doing my number 2 now. We're getting close to the end of our lists.
Or so we say, unless we have a lot to blab about.
Oh yes. So number 2 is Miitopia. Honestly, I love this game so much. I legit have played. I played the demo of this like 10 times because of how much fun I was having. Miitopia is a story involving our Miis, and you are trying to save the world's faces by an evil Dark Lord. The game lets you choose the Mii for legit every single character in this game, which is really cool. Honestly, it makes me happy with how many viewers, like how many of my viewers love the series. It's just so fun and addicting. However, it makes me sad that after like 2 or 3 months later, Miitopia just sort of died. I mean, I know originally it came out on 3DS. I don't know how quickly it died then, but really, after 2 months, people just got bored. It's really sad because I love that game. Running around with my Miis, fighting monsters and dressing my Miis up. Honestly, I know people hate the game because it's so long, but that's what I love about it. The fact that it's so long makes me want to play more. Although, even if I love this game, there's still some things I didn't enjoy. Like after a certain point of the story, I feel like they dragged out the levels a bit too much. Because even I can admit I got bored after a while, because it wasn't for a while until we fought a boss. Like, it was a really long time. Also, the post-game stuff could have been more fun, because I haven't really played it too much, because it's kind of boring, and you got to level up a lot to beat the final boss in the post-game stuff. And it is quite hard to do, so I wish they made it more fun and a bit easier. So,
Well,
what's your take on Miitopia? I know you haven't really played it, but you've seen my playthrough of it, so...
what do you mean I haven't played it? I beat it on both the 3DS and the Switch.
Oh, did you? I don't remember you telling me this.
So I know more about Miitopia than you do.
Whoa. It's crazy.
So, Miitopia came out the same year as Breath of the Wild did on the 3DS, which is probably why Nintendo figured it needed a second chance, was because everyone was so in love with the Switch that Miitopia kind of just flew by. On the 3DS, it was so much fun to have your own characters as the cast of the game, and it just felt like, for its time, it was a really... I mean, it's not the most gorgeous game ever, but for a 3DS game, it definitely felt like Nintendo was really pumping a lot of resources into making the animations as smooth as possible and giving the Miis actually somewhat realistic proportions, considering their sizes. So then the Switch version came along, and it didn't add too much, but I felt like they wanted to double down on the creativity elements, so they added the ability to put on makeup and wigs, which from what I've heard is insanely detailed. Like, there's almost nothing that can't be made from what I've been told. They also added a horse being added to your party, which that in and of itself gives you so much more options for strategy and cute moments. And there's also these things called outing tickets, where you can take the Miis on various trips together, and these trips look stunning. They use the additional power of the Switch to make some of the best graphics I've seen, like especially the water effects are just amazing. And not only that, but the 3DS version used a lot of stylus and dual screen shenanigans, and they somehow managed to make it work on one screen and make it feel so natural that you wonder how it was ever a 3DS game. So those are the big differences. But going back to your point about it being too long, yes, it is true. Miitopia just does not know when it wants to end. Every time you think it's over, it just says, no. But it's not the main reason why most people hated it.
No.
The reason I have heard that most people hate it, at least for the 3DS version, I don't know if the Switch is any different, people don't like it because it's repetitive. Like, you constantly do the same old things over and over again. You go to the same inn, it doesn't change its wallpaper or its design. A lot of the scenarios get repeated. There's a forward button to go through the battles, and you can even choose your main character to go on auto battle, and it just feels like it's taking a really long time for it to get going. And you wish that the game would throw more variety at you, which, admittedly, it tries to do, but it doesn't fully succeed. which is probably why they added the outing tickets, because they're like, Switch owners probably want to see at least a little bit new in here, so we'll try to give them a few more interactions so that they're not bored out of their minds going back through it. So I would say it's a good RPG, but not a great one. Would be better if maybe they had made the gameplay a little bit more varied and not made you constantly keep repeating things like you were playing a worse version of Majora's Mask.
Yes, true.
I would say that the Switch is the definitive way to play it, but not by very much. Like, the 3DS version is still perfectly tolerable. And the Switch version keeps a lot of its bugs and its flaws too. So
Yeah.
you could get away with either version. The Switch version is just slightly cuter, and the horse adds some slight conveniences, but they're basically the same game, just one is prettier.
Yeah.
So I bet you didn't know that I'd have that much to say about it, huh?
No, I'm shocked.
Wait, I never told you that I played the 3DS version?
No, I don't think you told me that you really completed both of them. I don't think so. I was shocked. I was like, wait, really?
Well, the reason why Miitopia wasn't on my best game in 2021 list was because it was so repetitive.
Yes. Well, I know your number 2, you've got a lot to talk about, so why don't we get into that then, shall we?
Yeah, and it happens to be an RPG too, so
Yay.
that was an unintentional segue on Peggle's part. So, my number 2 is Fire Emblem Three Houses, which should come as a surprise to none of you, because I am a die-hard Fire Emblem fan. So much so, I have owned every single game that's come out in North America, including both of the Tokyo Mirage Sessions spin-offs, all of the Virtual Console ports, and even the Fire Emblem Warriors game. Technically, I never owned the Switch version of Warriors, but I did rent it. So I say that kinda counts because it was also on the 3DS and it was perfectly playable. So I don't think you're missing much if you play it on the handheld. Three Houses had a pretty hefty ideal to live up to, because the most recent Fire Emblem games, while they were great and sold well and reviewed well, diehard fans like myself, who had been invested in it since the beginning, were starting to worry that it was becoming too anime, that it was starting to rely more on fan service and the female body to appeal to it rather than just being a good strategy RPG. So while Three Houses has moments like that, I won't try to deny it. At its heart, it goes back to a more traditional style of Fire Emblem, where it's still got a lot of strategy, and it's refined a lot of the techniques of previous Fire Emblem games. But it also adds in a few modern tweaks. Like, it takes a couple of the best things from the 3DS games. Like, you can rewind the turns if you make a mistake. You can set it so that the units don't die forever. But you also have a full 3D monastery to explore with camera controls, and you can wander around, and like people have something different to say depending on what time of year it is. You can like go on tea parties with your students. You can actually go in the classrooms and teach them to be what you want them to be in battle. So you can like customize your whole army, and the game is fully voiced too. That's another thing that not enough people talk about, is so many of Nintendo's games just refuse to have voice acting, such as Sword and Shield. Now, I do unfortunately think that one of Three Houses' biggest problems is the graphics. They are atrocious. Like, they are almost as bad as Sword and Shield. Like, I know people say that you can't give Fire Emblem a free pass. Well, I'm not giving it a free pass. I think Three Houses looks terrible. I would say it looks better than the old games, but only because it's like brighter and cleaner and the animations are more realistic. But the texture work is so muddy, and there's usually like things that fade in and out. It's not a very appealing game to look at. But it has such a good story, and it has multiple endings, and unlike Zero Escape, it's usually pretty easy to figure out how to get those endings, so I bet Peggle would like it for that reason alone. So, I know Three Houses lately has gotten into a lot of flack because it's the game that introduced Byleth, who is by far the most hated character in Smash. So do you agree with the hype? or the lack of hype around Byleth, or were you one of those people like me who was cheering when the reveal happened? Because I love Three Houses so much.
Well, sadly, and I'm being legit on this. With Smash, my first reveal was Steve, I think, actually. So I never knew who Byleth was. And then I saw one of my friends play as her, and I'm like, what? Who's this? And then they're like, oh, this is a very broken Fire Emblem character. And I was like, oh, great, because I already knew how many Fire Emblem characters there were in the game, and I was like, oh, great, did they really need to bring another one in?
Well, to be fair... I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then I saw how broken she was, and I was like, well, this is great to see. I love it. I don't like broken characters.
Well, to be fair to Byleth, he or she, because you can change Byleth's gender in the game itself. I like saying she, because when you're a girl, you get an automatic recruitment of one of the students, because he's like girl crazy. So she is actually 4 characters made into one, because she uses the 4 main heroes relics. So you could technically say it's Byleth, Edelgard, Claude, and Dimitri all as one character. And to further prove that, Byleth has costumes of each of the house leaders, and the house leaders themselves have spirit battles, and in the spirit battle, the character will automatically use the character's preferred weapon in the game. So like when you're fighting Claude, he will prioritize using the bow. When you're fighting Edelgard, she will prioritize using the axe. And it just really feels like people that were angry that Edelgard made it in, I say to them, she did make it in. Byleth just encompassed the best of all the worlds, because Byleth is the only character who can wield the Sword of the Creator. And that alone made up for some really cool maneuvers. Edelgard would have turned into a monster in the game if she tried to pick up that sword, so it wouldn't make sense.
Oh, goodness.
But overall, I would say to people that are potentially interested in Fire Emblem, which I've seen quite a lot of people say, like, Paul, how should I start Fire Emblem? I think Three Houses is a good starting point. It's actually the easiest game in the main series by far. And the, dating sim aspects, they might make me groan a little bit, but I think they'll help people that like games like Danganronpa really get into it more. And the battles are just on a much simpler scale, with a lot less enemies than usual, a lot less respawning, and a lot of the unfair what the heck moments are trimmed out. But if you still want those moments, there are higher difficulties that you can strive for. So it's got something for everyone.
Yes. Well,
and it also has the ability to go on dates with and stand atop a romantic tower with a person of your choice. So if you're the type that's looking for anime husbandos, oh gosh, Three Houses has quite a lot of them.
Finally, number 1 on my list, we've got Animal Crossing New Horizons. And this game was the very first game I played on the Switch, and I fell in love with this game when I first played it back in June of 2020.
How many husbands is this now?
What? I have no husbands in this game. What are you talking about?
You said you fell in love with it, but you also said that Bowser is your husband, and Kokichi is your husband.
Koichi is my husband? I said I hate Koichi.
That's your talk for saying that you actually secretly like him.
Okay.
We had to sneak in a Danganronpa reference in there because we didn't have any Danganronpa games on our list. So, moving on, why do you think New Horizons is so worthy of having hearts in your eyes?
Well, yeah, I played this back in June of 2020, and it's very addicting, and I just love running around on my island doing daily tasks. I think I've restarted my island quite a few times. But I've sticked with one now since October last year, so I'm trying not to restart again. When it came out back in March of 2020, it was a very dark time for the world, pretty much, with the pandemic. And this game really helped people with their mental health, with just a little calm way of just, doing some tasks on an island. It was really chill, pretty much. I myself was going through a dark time during 2020 because I was in my final year of high school and there was a lot of uncertainty with me graduating. So when I saw this game, it really helped me forget about the pandemic and play with like some of my friends. So yeah, it really helps, and it's still even though it's kind of died a little bit, it's still really good. I really love like all the holiday events, although Toy Day is really short. They should have made that longer. What I don't like about this game is the lack of updates. Although they released a big update back in November of 2021, it still didn't release everything for the old games. And I seriously wish that they brought other Nintendo updates like the Zelda stuff, including Wolflink. It would just make this game more popular and more fun. I really think that would be cool. Also, I didn't like one of the Sanrio update because that only had amiibos for new characters, and you can't get those characters going villager hunting, which is one of the best things in this game. You actually have to go get the amiibos yourself, which is really annoying, and I hate it.
I didn't even know Sanrio existed until that update. So
Neither
I
did.
must be really
Don't
out of
worry.
the loop.
Don't worry, I'm the same. But yeah, I just think this is a really fun game, and I've almost got 2,000 hours on it because I myself try and find something fun to do with this game. That's why I constantly restart my island. That's why I constantly flatten my island. I try and find something to do in the game so that I don't like get bored of it and just let it die out, because I really do love this game and it's really helped me through dark times. So that's why I appreciate it so much.
Well, for me, New Horizons hasn't made as much of an impact because I played the original Animal Crossing on GameCube and pretty much every single one after that except for Happy Home Designer, but I did watch my siblings play City Folk quite a lot, and that was basically a big screen version of Wild World, which is why not a lot of people liked it. So I've seen how the series has evolved and how it's unevolved in the case of Amiibo Festival. And I definitely would agree that New Horizons is the best Animal Crossing. Like the DIY, the ability to put stuff outside, and the ability to have gender-neutral hairstyles, probably some of the biggest reasons why New Horizons felt like such an upgrade. It made it feel like you could just customize yourself even more than you already could. And the graphics were really nice. Like if you go in the museum, it is, bar none, probably the most gorgeous museum you've ever seen in a video game.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Problem is that Animal Crossing expects you to keep playing it over and over again, and the game punishes you if you dare to have a life outside of it.
Yeah.
So
Because your villagers come up to you and be like, "Whoa, you've been gone for like a week. How dare you?"
Yeah, but at least it doesn't do what it did in New Leaf and City Folk, where if you were gone too long, your character would start having messy hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next segue might be a little bit awkward because we had to do a little bit of editing and chopping up, but basically I had left off with saying that I found that New Horizons makes you keep playing the game over and over again. I just eventually got tired of it because I like to be able to say, like, I've beaten the game, and that's the end of it. Whereas Animal Crossing doesn't have an ending. Like in New Horizons it kinda does. Like once you get KK Slider to join your island, then you get the credits. Then it still doesn't feel like you've beaten it, because that's when the terraforming opens up, and it's like that feels like that's a major part of the game that you just got. So I definitely appreciate what it is, and I had fun with it at first. I also would say that it wore out its welcome too much, and Animal Crossing games in the future should probably have an option to just put your town on stop mode so that you don't have to feel guilt-shamed for, again, wanting to play other games, having a life, your Switch is broken, like any number of things, but they just assume that you're made for them, and you're not. You gotta move on with your life eventually.
It's also a great way to communicate with friends, like especially you, when you had your computer problems, you were still able to play Animal Crossing with us and chat to us, so
Which is how I was able to inform you that I had computer troubles in the first place, was
Yeah.
I sent you a letter through Animal Crossing.
That's literally how you told me, and I had to tell everyone else, and everyone was like, "No, are you serious?" I was like, "Look, I have the proof."
Yeah, believe it or not, she was actually worried about me at one point in
Yeah.
our friendship.
Well, I'm sure we can get into your number one list. So I'm going to sit here with a imaginary cup of tea and just let the rant begin.
You Australians put milk in your tea, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's weird.
But maybe I should call it Milo. That's what we have. We have chocolate milk called Milo, so I'll just have a sip of that.
Okay, so cultural differences aside, my number one, as we've said over and over again, is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, this might come as a bit of a shock to some of you. Like, you might be saying, wait, why is Smash on top, not Breath of the Wild? The simple answer is that I beat Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. And to me, it is a Wii U title, first and foremost. It started development on the Wii U, and then when the Switch came out, Nintendo was like, we gotta hurry up and have a good game for our Switch so that the Switch isn't a failure. So they just haphazardly ported it over. And it was an okay port, but it's still a Wii U title. So Smash Brothers is my number one Switch game. And what I love about Smash is it's just such a smorgasbord of gaming goodness. It's got so many characters and stages and music and spirits and classic mode routes that you'd have to be playing the game for an insane amount of hours to get everything. And I actually have gotten everything except for one spirit because Nintendo lied in one of their tweets. I really like how nearly every little detail is a reference to something in Nintendo's history, no matter how small. It could be something as little as during Spirit Battle, if the spirit is faster, then that's a reference to something. If the character has a pink outfit, then that pink outfit is based on this one moment in an obscure game that was only in Japan. And I love how there's just so many little moments and franchises that cross over. For me, I think the biggest thing I got out of Smash Brothers were the spirit battles, because they were just such a creative way of taking characters that couldn't make it into the base roster and making them fightable. Like, that's just such an amazing concept. And Banjo and Kazooie getting in as playable characters. Back during the days of the previous Smash games on the 3DS and Wii U, during the DLC they made this poll called the Smash Ballot. And they said, you get the chance to vote for a character that you want to be in Smash. Now, at the time, we thought that it was going to be DLC for 3DS and Wii U. What we didn't know was that some of the results would go into Ultimate's planning stages. So I wrote that I wanted Banjo and Kazooie, and I said they used to be Nintendo characters, so I would really appreciate it if they would be back on a Nintendo system. And E3 2019 was the moment when my dreams became a reality, and it was the only time in gaming history where I actually legitimately jumped out of my seat in joy, and I was running through the whole house shouting for everyone to hear it. But no one was home at the time, so I ended up calling my brother just so that I could fanboy to someone, because I think my best friend was working and no one else would answer their phone. And they were handled so beautifully. They even got Grant Kirkhope to come back and recompose Spiral Mountain. And oh my gosh, I made a whole video about how much I loved Banjo and Kazooie and Smash, but it proved that Smash was a franchise where dreams could come true, where Chrom could be a playable fighter, where Garreg Mach Monastery was a stage, where Banjo and Kazooie exist. And they even have some games that aren't so great that Smash treated with reverence, like Sonic 06 had some references in it, but you would never guess that the game was a broken, buggy mess with how Smash glorified it. Although they didn't have any references to Amiibo festivals, so I guess not every game they wanted to do that with, but like they have spirits that are references to Virtual Boy games, for example, and it's just so amazing to basically have a trip down memory lane throughout all of Nintendo history. And ever since Brawl, they've also added non-Nintendo characters in, so it's becoming more of a gaming museum. Like I said earlier, that's how my brain is to begin with. Like, I'm the type of guy that I'm constantly reliving moments in my life and thinking about various bits of information. And usually, what people really like about me when they talk to me is that I just have a seemingly never-ending pool of trivia of like, did you know this? Did you know that? And with Smash, even I'm stumped by some of the references. So it's helped me learn more about gaming. And it's just fun to play. Like, I'm not the best Smasher in the world. I would definitely fall under the category of a casual Smasher. That's the audience Smash was designed for to begin with, so the competitives can say they played the game improperly. And I've probably missed a few things. Like, I could say how much I love World of Light's premise. Yeah, it didn't have as many cutscenes as Subspace Emissary, but it did a good job of contextualizing why spirits existed, which I thought was cool, because Subspace Emissary didn't have any dialogue at all. So everything was pantomimed, so you had to just guess what was going on. And World of Light had more Nintendo references. The final battle was incredible. The final battle in Subspace Emissary was, like, brutal. Whereas in this one, it was still brutal, but it was fair at the same time. And again, there's so much more I could say, but basically, it's just a smorgasbord of never-ending goodness. And as much as most of the internet would like to think that Smash is over now that Sora's out, I like to think it's just beginning. Because now that Smash is actually complete, now I have more ideas for making spirit battles, custom spirit battles, and more videos with Smash as the content, and I'm just getting started.
Oh my.
And to think that I like Breath of the Wild even more, but this is why Smash is my favorite Switch game.
I feel like if you had Breath of the Wild as number one, we'd be here longer.
Well, Smash doesn't really let you explore and wander around. It's more of a limited 2D fighting game where you have to attack your opponents. Whereas Breath of the Wild gives you a lot of freedom of, like, doing it your own way. Smash kinda does, but it's more of get from point A to point B, whereas Breath of the Wild is like, what's a point B? Like, our point B is everywhere on the map.
Oh gosh. Well, I'll go a little bit more about Smash from my point of view. Smash Bros. Ultimate was the second Smash game I ever played. The first one I played was the one on the Wii U, which I actually really enjoyed that, even though I knew, like, I only knew Mario characters at the time. So my brain was a bit, shortened, and it got expanded in Ultimate. But I really, really do like the game. It's really fun. It's great. What I love, I started watching some of the reveals when Steve was first revealed, which is amazing. The fact that they brought, like, everyone was saying it as a joke, like, oh, imagine if Steve was in Smash, and Nintendo was like, okay, we can put him in, sure, why not? That's what I love. That's what I love. And Piranha Plant, that was hilarious. Like, a lot of the reveals were hilarious. I know there was some that people were like, really? Why did you put this character in? Like, for me, why did they have to put Min Min in? Like, really? No. I mean, like, the two least favorite ones, I think, for me, are Min Min and, to be honest, even though Pyra and Mythra are fun, I don't really think they needed to be in it. But that's just my opinion.
As one who's actually played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I can tell you that they were probably a lot more deserving than Rex was, because Rex is a pretty unremarkable protagonist, but, like, Pyra and Mythra are intrinsically connected in ways I won't say how. I think it worked really well in Smash's favor, and it allowed more stuff from Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, am I gonna complain? You saw my number 4 on this list, so.
Yeah. I know, unpopular opinion also, I loved Kazuya when he got revealed. I think he's a really cool character. I know a lot of people were like, why the heck would you bring a Tekken character in? Why not? How about that? Like, this,
I mean,
like,
it's a fighting game after all.
like, Sakurai can do whatever he wants, okay? He could pull out a character from a game that we've barely heard of and just put him in and say, you're gonna have to deal with it now. So,
I mean, he has done that, where he's taken a lot of characters that no one knew about. Like in Super Smash Bros. Melee, most of the roster, I didn't even know who they were. when I went in, like Mr. Game & Watch, I was like, what
Oh,
the heck is
yeah.
that? Marth and Roy, at the time, Fire Emblem still hadn't been localized, but they were so popular in Melee that Fire Emblem for Game Boy Advance was localized 2 years later. So Smash was essentially that series that would promote all of these Nintendo games, and people would say, ooh, a Spirit Battle of Esna? Now I really want to play Ever Oasis.
Yeah.
Not that particular example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how they've brought all these different characters. Like it's really great how they've expanded it. And I really, really wish they would do a third pack, but I know he wanted to stop at 2. He was originally going to stop at 1, and then the pandemic happened, and he's like, okay, fine. Have
Well,
more.
if you want to be technical, Fighters Pass 2 was announced literally right before the pandemic, at the end of Byleth's announcement.
Okay.
So it was more of the other way around, where after the pandemic happened, he's like, I need to keep the promise I made before, so that people don't think that the pandemic is going to make Smash worse.
Yes, I guess Waluigi will forever be just a wish.
But Waluigi did get in as a spirit,
I know.
and as an assist trophy, and he got Waluigi Pinball as a remix.
Yes.
And
So-
Mario and Luigi both got costumes based on him, and I think Wario did too. So he lives on in other ways
Yeah.
in Smash.
I know. Like I know people like people begged for Sora for so long, but people begged just as long for Waluigi. So it was just a shame that Sora got chosen over Waluigi, but I think it's just I don't know if this is true, and I've said this to you before. Apparently, Sakura was actually going to do it, and then something happened, and it just switched in his brain, saying, "You know what? I'm not going to have him in now." So
I have not heard that, but I do know that he was harassed pretty badly by some idiots on Twitter that did not know how to ask politely for things.
yeah.
So I think
Which-
There's a theory that in the trailer where they were showing off assist trophies, they had Marth KOing the Waluigi assist trophy as like his way of saying, no, I'm shattering all of your dreams.
Which is another thing I wanted to bring up, and it's like I wanted to touch on a little bit with the community. The community can be good, but they can also be absolutely toxic. Especially during the Smash reveals with characters, because if their one character didn't get reveal, worst reveal ever, pretty much, which is a real shame because it's just I think everyone should just try and be like, okay, this was Sakura's decision, so he
Well, I also think... I'm sorry.
like it was his decision. He could have just said, no, screw you, I'm gonna pull out these characters, but he tried to listen. And he tried to bring in characters that he think would suit in Smash, so, you know.
Well, technically, I heard that it was Nintendo that made the calls for the characters, but Sakurai would make the decision of if they were able to be made playable. Like, if he said, no, that moveset is too hard to incorporate, he would turn them down, but he didn't get to hand-pick his personal favorites. Or at least that's what I was told for Fighter Pass 1. Not sure if 2 was the same, but at least with 1, like, it wasn't him that brought in Byleth. That was Nintendo's idea.
Yeah. I think it took a lot for not only him, but Nintendo itself to bring Sora into the game, because, you know, Disney. So I
And
can
then they couldn't even get orchestra pieces.
Yeah, because I think it was hard. I think it was a lot of money enough to bring Sora in it. I know a lot of people wanted like Donald, like Donald Duck and Goofy to be running around or something, but that would have cost even more money to bring those two in. So, I think we should just be happy with what we have with the game and just accept it for how it is. So.
And it's easy for me to be happy with what I have.
Yeah, I
Banjo
know.
Kazooie, and Byleth, and Crom, and yeah, those 3 were like the biggies. Oh, and Shulk. Well, Shulk was in the previous one, so I guess that doesn't really count.
I just have Bowser.
Yeah, Byleth, Crom, Banjo, and Kazooie were like the 3 big ones for me, and they all got in.
I just have Bowser.
But Bowser has been in Smash since Melee. So
I
you
know.
can't say it was a new addition.
I know. Okay, fine. I loved. I did love Steve and Alex. I loved Kazuya. I do think Banjo-Kazooie are really fun. Sora feels a bit chunky, feels a bit weird, so Kazi is the one that feels chunky. I'm trying to Sephiroth! Sephiroth was so good. I really liked him when he was released. So, yeah.
Sephiroth's trailer was the first post-pandemic reveal that made me think that Nintendo was finally getting back on track to their old ways, because I sort of felt like between Min Min and Steve, trailers, something about them felt off. Like something was holding them back. I don't know if it was COVID or just Nintendo's policies changed, but either way, I just felt like if the pandemic hadn't happened, we would have had even higher cutscene quality. But then when Sephiroth came, it's like, oh yeah, Nintendo is back. They figured out how to deal with the pandemic struggles, and they came back banging.
Well,
with Steve, it just felt so lazily animated. But maybe that's just me. I've been told that I'm very harsh when it comes to animation, so
yeah.
you all can go at me in the comments.
Well, I think that will do with the end of the video. I really enjoyed this. Did you?
I did. I just hope your audience will enjoy all of the criticisms I made towards the games I didn't particularly like.
Yes.
But I do appreciate that there were more games that we both liked than we both disliked.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I really hope to do more recordings with other people as well. I'm trying to get another one. I'm trying to get a video sorted with Big Ree. So until then, have you got anything else to say, like a catchphrase or something like that?
Oh yeah. Well, audience, thank you very much for watching. Let us know down in the comments what you thought. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and I annoy Peggle enough on the Discord. But that's not enough for me. You gotta annoy her in the comments section, too.
Oh, goodness. Well, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you all another time. See ya!